Wouldn't you love a backstage pass to candid discussions at the crossroads of motherhood, justice, community, entrepreneurship, mentoring, and success? Well, you're in luck. Join us at mightymerp.com. This podcast is not a source of legal advice. No two legal cases are the same. Contact an attorney if you require legal assistance.
Today on the Mighty Merp podcast, I'm excited to welcome Jessica Budrock, the owner and principal attorney of Budrock Law Firm, LLC, a South Jersey practice dedicated to guiding clients through every stage of their family law matters with skill, clarity, and compassion. Jessica is admitted to the New Jersey Bar, the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey, and the New York Bar. She is an active member of the New Jersey State Bar Association, Atlantic County Bar Association, Burlington County Bar Association, and Thomas S. Forkin Family Law American Inns of Court. She also serves as a matrimonial early settlement panelist for Atlantic County and as vice chair of Burlington County Fee Arbitration Committee. Whew, that's a lot. Through her practice, Jessica has become known for her thoughtful approach and strong advocacy. Today, we'll talk to her about her path into family law, her philosophy as a practitioner, trends she's seeing in the family law field, and the work she's doing to elevate professionalism, client-centered representation across South Jersey. Jessica, welcome to Mighty Merp Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you in our conversation. So, Jessica, tell me a little bit about your origin story. Are you from this area of New Jersey? Are you a transplant? Tell me, I don't know your origin story at all.
I am from Union County, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Clark, and I went to law school in Boston. And then after law school, I moved back to North Jersey. I worked in New York for a little while, but I knew that family law is what I wanted to do. And I was lucky enough to have an opportunity to come down to South Jersey and work with a phenomenal family law practitioner. And I jumped on that right away and moved down to South Jersey in 2017. And now there's no going. Now I'm stuck here.
Do you want to give the shout out to the amazing family law practitioner you worked with?
Absolutely. Amy Weintraub.
Yes. Who is amazing.
She is. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you always know that you wanted to become a lawyer?
I always knew I wanted to become a lawyer. The type of law that I wanted to do, that kind of fluctuated throughout the years and through schooling. And then that moved a little bit. That needle moved. When
you said you always knew, like at 4, you were like, Mommy, I want to be a lawyer. Or in high school and college, when did it?
Elementary school, actually, like my 5th grade yearbook, they did like 5th grade yearbooks of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I had lawyer written down then. It was pretty much always the plan.
And what led you specifically to family law?
When I was in law school, I had an amazing opportunity to work for the Volunteer Lawyers Project of Boston. And I got to work with clients like right away, right off the bat. And I got to work with them throughout the guardianship process for incapacitated adults and minors. Mm-hmm. And it was a phenomenal experience. And even though that internship was supposed to last only 1 semester, I actually never left. I stayed there.
You're like, I'm here.
And then I did that throughout law school. Then I did family law. I worked at a private practice law firm as well doing family law. And I was like, this is the good fit that I like. And then the rest is history.
The rest is history. What law school did you go to?
I went to New England Law, Boston.
Gotcha. I am also a North Jersey born and raised girl in Passaic County. So I see now. I see. So you were in North Jersey. You applied for a job in Atlantic County. Did you know? I mean, Amy's amazing, but did you know right away that it was going to be an amazing experience? Did you know anything about the law firm when you applied, or did you just think like, I want to do family law and I'm going to throw my application in?
No, I actually had a connection from somebody I went to law school with
Mm-hmm.
who connected me to Amy, knowing that she was looking for an associate for family law. And the timing just worked out perfectly because I was at the time working in New York at a foreclosure litigation firm, which was not the right fit at all. So it just worked out phenomenally with having Amy looking for an associate in family law. I was like, I'm all open for that because I really wanted that one-on-one mentorship to
Mm-hmm.
be able to learn and really, hone in on the practice and get the ins and outs of what family law is like in New Jersey. Because at the time, my only experience was through Massachusetts, which is very different than what it's like here.
Right. And there is nothing that will get an individual to leave the law profession quicker than getting stuck in an area of law like foreclosures in New York when it is not bringing you joy. Foreclosures might bring some other people joy, but I always say that the lawyers I know that are the unhappiest in their careers are the ones that got stuck practicing in an area that they didn't like from the beginning.
Yeah, it's hard to transition
Yeah. How
to
long
something
were
different.
you working with Amy?
4 years.
Okay. Um, and then you were at another law firm afterwards, correct? Or did you go right into opening up your own law firm?
No, I went to another law firm in between opening up my own firm. I went to a law firm that was based out of Burlington County,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to focus 100% on family law with doing a lot of different types of cases. So Atlantic County and Cape May County it's a small bar. It's a small, tight-knit group of attorneys, which is amazing. It's great not having that adversarial nature that you have in some other counties,
No, you can't
but
burn any bridges down here because there are bridges that you're going to have to go over and over and over again.
and you're gonna have the same adversary. So you gotta make sure that your reputation is everything. And when I was out in Burlington County, though, I got the benefit of meeting all different practitioners, having a lot of different cases, and the volume was huge. Um, so I had a really large book of business at the time, which was great because I was able to manage and handle all different types of cases in other counties and see how other judges rule on cases and see how other practitioners even schedule their cases and how they perform in court and things that they file.
Right. So I'm going to ask you a question that might seem really simple in the sense of how do maybe I don't know this, but I'm going to say it from maybe our listeners don't know this. So I'm a criminal law practitioner. I think people know what I do. It's pretty easy. You get a traffic ticket, homicide, anything in between, including domestic violence, I handle. So when people say family law matters, I think we immediately think divorce. But tell me what all of family law matters include and what you handle personally.
It starts even pre-marriage with doing prenuptial agreements
Mm-hmm.
and helping people kind of lay out the groundwork for what would happen in the event of a divorce. And prenuptial agreements a lot of times have maybe a negative connotation to them, but at the same time, they can be a really great tool before marriage to have all of your assets, liabilities set out, things to do with children or embryos and IVF treatments and things like that you might not think about or, you know, want to have that conversation. But sometimes it's good that people have that conversation as early on as possible. So
Mm-hmm.
it starts even pre-marriage, and then we basically cover everything, whether you were married and you need a divorce or you weren't married but you have children together and you need custody, child support, college contributions is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Restraining orders, that's another big one.
Right.
And there's a very large overlap too between restraining orders and then the custody case that follows and what that overlap is like and what happens with that.
Right. But there's a lot of family law attorneys that don't do the restraining orders anymore, that they choose to send that out either to criminal practitioners or someone else. I find that happens a lot. So you worked for two different law firms. One I would say is a small to medium law firm, and then the other one was considered a medium law firm?
Medium to large. There was 5 different offices throughout New Jersey.
Oh, I think that's large in New Jersey. I'm going to say large. With that, what inspired you to open up your own firm, and how has that helped shape your work as a practitioner?
I love practicing family law. I don't want to do any other type of law. I think it's just the best rewarding type of law that there is. And when I was thinking about opening up my own firm, I had these conversations with my husband about it, and he put his full support behind me and was like, "You can do it." And I knew I could. I think just taking that initial leap is the scary part, because you have, that self-doubt sometimes creeps in of, will the clients come? What if they don't? How am I going to pay my mortgage? All these type of concerns. But when I actually looked at my client base and I looked at how many returning customers or how many returning clients I had, I really thought about it, and I ran all of the numbers, and I was like, there's no other better time than now. Now I'm going to take the leap of faith right now. I have the ability to work remotely for a while too, because after COVID, you didn't have to have a brick and mortar
Mm-hmm.
business. So you were able to really, I was at least able to open the firm, not have to worry about rent, not have to worry about that overhead, and started off with having a really great client base that I'm so appreciative of,
Mm-hmm.
because it came with me. So when I started, I was able to really hit the ground running. And then it was just a matter of keeping it going. And we've been moving full steam ahead. We are moving along. And um, I think it's interesting. I don't think there's a right time or a wrong time. It was just, I got to the point where I was like, I can do it. I know I can. I'm
Mm-hmm.
confident in the job that I do. And I'm really excited to take on another learning aspect of the practice of being a business owner,
Right.
which I hadn't done before.
Did you know that the end goal was to open up your own practice at some point?
I thought about it. I didn't really think too much about it. It was always one of those, like when you go to law school, everybody talks about like, okay, are you going to make a partner? Are you going to open up your own firm? Are you going to be a judge? So all of those thoughts, I mean, they've always been there. I didn't really think too much about it um, until I was looking at my client base. And I came to the conclusion that a lot of the clients that I have, most of my client base, they were all direct referrals to me. It wasn't to the firm.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about it. I said, okay, I'm doing something right. Something is right if they're coming
Yeah.
for me specifically. And if that's the case, then I think I can do it with my name on the door.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I love the fact that you said there was like a scary element to it because there's an unknown. And I think that's the hardest thing for people to get past. I didn't think of myself as a business owner ever. And I am so happy. I love being my own business. There are so many benefits to it. And you mentioned, which is where I want to go next, about this challenge of being an owner and kind of expanding. You were a lawyer for a number of years, and now you get to put your own mark on the business end of your law firm. So did you have, when you opened up your firm, either a specific mission or values that you wanted to like definitely instill from the beginning to set your firm apart on how you represent clients?
Family law is such an emotionally tolling time
Mhm.
period for people. So I see people at their lowest of lows when they just come to you absolutely broken. And the fact that I get to help somebody kind of put the pieces back together and, restart and figure out what their new normal is, and figure out like, okay, what is your parenting time going to be with your children, and kind of get people back on track.
Mhm.
That is such it's not a one size fits all approach. You have to take every single one of your cases and look at them as the individuals that they are, their families as that family unit that is separate and distinct from some of your other clients. So being able to, what I wanted to do was be able to put a very human element to it. I didn't want it to feel like a corporate structure. I don't want somebody to feel like they're just a client number or just a matter number. I want somebody to know that I'm in it with them. I'm going to fight with them. And I'm going to be real with them too. I'm not going to let people have unrealistic expectations and come to me and I'm not going to just keep saying yes, yes, yes to everything they want. I'll give them realistic feedback of what is possible given their circumstances.
Right.
So that really, I guess, personalized
Sounds
approach.
like personalized and individualized as well.
Yeah.
Clients, I will say my clients appreciate my directness and honesty. And I will say things like, I'm not sugarcoating this. And
all the time.
When I do my consultations, I'm very clear that I might not be everyone's cup of tea. I know what I bring to the table and how I can help, but if they want someone that's going to say, yes, you're right. Yes, we'll ask for that, even if it's frivolous. I'm not your person, So you talk about people coming to you at their low. Family law is so emotionally charged. It's so deeply personal to people. How do you balance the compassion that they need and you give the honest and straightforward strategic advice?
Well, you have to kind of compartmentalize things. And something that's very difficult for people is to remove the emotion from the whole process. They want sometimes the judge to know that their ex is a bad person or did something bad. And that might all well be true. That might be the case. But at the same time, my role is to get somebody as close to their requested relief as possible. So what I like to do with people who are very emotional and just not in a good headspace is explain it to them in that kind of setting. Say, okay, we have two issues here. One, you have the emotional aspect of you are going through a divorce and a really, really big transition. The best way I can prepare you for that is that you don't have the fear of the unknown. And what I can do and how I can help that is tell you step by step what to expect and what the possibilities are. So that way that can ease a lot of people's anxieties, because a lot of times they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know where they're going to live. They don't know when they're going to see their children. They don't know if they're going to be getting alimony or whether a restraining order is going to protect them or whether a restraining order will be granted against them. And all of those types of unknowns lead to so much angst and anxiety. So I do the best I can with giving people the framework and the procedure of what we'll be doing. And I think that that's really helpful for people, just to know what's on the horizon and what is going to potentially happen.
Yeah. So what do you find most rewarding and most challenging about guiding clients through this high stress situation?
Most rewarding is absolutely the client feedback that I get. I love even sometimes that I have consultations where for one reason or another the person's not ready to move forward, or it's not a case that they're going to retain me for. But even when that happens and I hear back on a consultation saying, you made me feel so much better. I feel so much better after talking to you. And you can literally hear almost a sigh of relief. And when that happens from the initial consultation and it continues throughout the case, that's just the best feeling. And knowing that my clients feel heard, my clients feel, I guess, taken care of in a sense. Right. That I listened to them, I, fought for them, and I was in their corner through a really difficult time. So that's definitely the most rewarding aspect. Most challenging is, at the exact same time, the emotional aspect of it. You can't guarantee results. I can't go into court and say, I know 100% certainty you will be successful with X, Y, and Z. We can give advice and guidance and say, this is what the law is. these are your facts and how it applies. But at the end of the day, when a judge makes a determination, it can go in your favor, it cannot go in your favor. So those times where there's losses, I don't forget them at all. You just try to say, okay, well, how am I going to do better the next time?
Mm-hmm.
And those times where the results aren't what you think they should be or what your client expected, those are hard. That's really hard. I am incredibly fortunate that it doesn't happen too often. So I'm very, very lucky with that. But, the times where things don't work out for people, or there's just a lot of damage that can't be undone that I have no control over. Like, I can't fix it all. I can't fix, a damaged relationship with a child. That's out of my control. But it's hard not to internalize that. So even for myself, I have a lot of things that I do to kind of break up and say, okay, I gotta break up my day and say, this is a very emotionally charged case. So maybe after that client meeting, I make sure on my calendar I have, a 30-minute break afterwards. Just not take any other clients, not do anything else, just for me to decompress.
Right.
And that's all.
Right. I know. I have said to my staff, I do 30-minute meetings, which I've done for years, but it'll be 2:30, 2:30, 2 to 2:30, 2:30 to 3, 3 to 3:30. And I've had to say to my staff, I can't do it. I can't keep hearing. And, I think the one thing that's similar in our two specific areas is that we're dealing with people in very stressful situations, whether it's your family and your kids or your freedom or it's the level of stress. So when you opened up your office, I know you said there was like a little bit of fear. What was a surprise to you when you kind of hung your shingle and started?
How quickly everything would grow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, because, I've read all of these different blogs, I read books and, of like, what's it like to start your own firm and listen to podcasts and things. And everybody tells you like, oh, we'll have like a 6-month, parachute, have your 6 months of your fees and have all these things and be ready for the lull of not having clients come in right away. And that's kind of what I expected. I said, okay, I'm going to start with the clients that I have right now. It'll probably be a lull before I have more consults coming in. And the opposite happened. It grew really, really fast in a short period of time. So I actually ended up hiring my legal assistant within the first 2 months of opening. Because I had that much work to do. I was like, oh, okay, I can't do this on my own.
How long has Budrock Law Firm been open?
Just under a year and a half.
Wow. It's amazing. So you have a legal assistant that you hired pretty quickly within the first few months. Do you have anyone else who works for you now?
Yep. I have a receptionist and I have a bookkeeper.
Right. Did you try to not have a receptionist or bookkeeper when you first opened the doors?
That also lasted for about 2 months.
So
2 months. That's about it.
What do you think led to the success of opening up your firm? Do you think there was just that you had been working long enough that your name was independent of any law firm? Do you think there was goodwill? Were you getting referrals from a lot of other family law attorneys that might have had conflicts? Where do you think that you didn't have that initial growing pains like other law firms do?
I think probably a combination of all of those things. What I had noticed when I was looking at my client base from my previous firm was a lot of the clients that I was getting were from previous clients referring family, friends, coworkers, and I kind of banked on that continuing. I thought, okay, well, if it would happen there and they're coming from me directly, then it should translate I would hope. And it did. So there was definitely that aspect of it. And then referrals as well from other practitioners from different practice areas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big one. I think also too that with family law, there's always a need for it.
Mm.
There's definitely a need. And I think that a lot of people feel comfortable being at a smaller firm for that one-on-one attention rather than, a bigger firm where sometimes your case might get transferred to multiple different attorneys. Whereas here, it's me. So you have a consult with me. I will be handling your case from start to finish. So I think it's that combination of probably all of it. The marketing aspect, that's been fun. That's been a lot of fun to try to figure that all out.
So I was going to switch to that because I was really wanting to focus on the running of the law firm and sort of what you found that you loved that might not have expected. It sounds like marketing is there. And then what you really business-wise don't love about being the owner of a law firm, which might be the bookkeeping and the receptionist, which is why you have a bookkeeper and a receptionist. But let's talk about the marketing. Do you enjoy the marketing aspect?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm not naturally like a Facebook. I didn't have Facebook actually before opening up the firm. And in order to have a law firm page, I had to also have an individual page.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't had Facebook for, I think, 13, 14 years before I had opened. So then I had to open up a Facebook. So I said, okay, it's a necessary evil. I got to do it. So I did that. I had an Instagram, and I'm not a natural, I don't know, social media person, I would say.
Well, it's two things. It's got to be social media, which is, I think today as a law firm, you have to be on social media. I'm not saying you have to be making TikToks, but I'm saying you have to have a presence, an online presence. But I think there's a self-promotion side of marketing today that is, I would say, I felt it was uncomfortable of saying, look how amazing I am. But at the same time, I know I learned very quickly that you need to say, my law firm and I are amazing, and embrace it, even though it might not feel comfortable. That's what the marketing has to show, right?
Now that takes some getting used to, for sure. But again, I was so fortunate too, because when I first had opened, and I know, the Best of the Press Awards, you've been a winner every year since your firm's been open.
Yes.
Budrock Law Firm was nominated, and our firm was open for 4 months.
Yeah. So
I didn't even know anything about Best of the Press, and I just got the email that your firm's been nominated. I was like, what? This is
that
amazing.
is awesome. So mine too. I opened my firm in February of 2019, and Best of the Press was earlier than it is now. So it started in the summer earlier. I think now it starts in July. It was about 2 months earlier. And so that first year, even being in the mix of it and then being one of the best of the press was like, oh my goodness.
Whirlwind, but it's so exciting. And I was like, wow, I'm nominated and one of the top 5 people to vote for. And then I got second place, which was just, I was over the moon. I still am. And
Yeah.
That was over a year ago. I still think it's amazing.
It is amazing. I think it's a big step to open your law firm. I think it's a huge deal. You're putting all your eggs in your own basket and you're saying, I believe in myself. And then, I always describe myself as a little engine that could, which is a book. If you were raised in the 70s, hopefully people know what I'm talking about. But so those little recognition and acknowledgement, like Best of the Press, really, I think, adds fuel to believing that you can do this and you can do it successfully.
100%. Yeah.
I know you're in Atlantic County. I know you're in Burlington County. Are you focused just in South Jersey, or are you looking to take over the whole state?
I
How,
like South Jersey.
uh-huh.
I like South Jersey a lot, and even Cape May, Cumberland, Gloucester, basically whole South Jersey. I think it's 8 counties that I practice in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good area to practice. And for right now, I think I'm good here. We are doing really well as a firm. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing great. We're expanding. Like I said, in the first 2 months, I've already hired people. We're up to, 3 people now. We're looking to expand even more with getting associate attorneys and really being able to um, manage all of the incoming clients and needs that
Right.
we'll have.
Do you have a plan with growing the law firm, with how you're going to maintain that personalized and individualized representation that you promote?
Well, I think one thing is not to get too big too fast. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you get too big too fast, then you really kind of lose control over what the fabric of the firm looks like and how that works. And what I would love to do, and what one thing I was thinking, and why I moved from being fully remote to having a brick and mortar location, is because whatever associate or attorney who comes in and works, I want it to be a collaboration. I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be able to, I want to be the mentor that I had, so that somebody can learn and get the benefit of, listening in on client phone calls, hearing feedback about, approach to take on a motion or things to do. So I don't plan on getting so big so fast that I'm not involved in the day to
Mm-hmm.
day. I want to stay involved. But as it gets bigger, as you know, with the business aspect of it too, the more people you hire, more management. That's more time on administrative tasks. So it's interesting to balance. Um, and I'm not there yet because I haven't hired anybody yet, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely on the horizon as being something as a short-term goal
Right.
for sure.
Is your staff in the office, or is everyone in the brick and mortar location now?
No, bookkeeper and legal assistant fully remote.
Mm-hmm.
Receptionist is in the office.
And are you in the office, or are you remote? Do you like
I don't.
that now
I
going?
I do. I think it's really easy too with having people just, even if they want to drop off documents.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a divorce proceeding and I need, 3 years worth of documents or 5 years worth of bank statements, and somebody goes to the bank. If, if I can make life easier for the client and not have them scan everything in and then email it in 20 different emails because it's too big to send in one, then just come by the office, drop it off, and that's great. And also, I think having that face to face interaction, it's sometimes necessary, especially in the really emotionally charged cases. Come in, we'll meet face to face. You'll feel better when you leave. We can talk about everything rather than, going on the phone. And I personally like that better because I gave some pushback in the beginning, especially when everything transitioned to being remote hearings and everything on the phone. During COVID, that was great because you could be a lot of different places in one
Mm-hmm.
day. That's a huge benefit. But you also lost that, again, you kind of lost that human element.
Yes. Yes. I also think that having an office that is staffed, even if you're not there, they're still being serviced by your law firm, and I think that, I know for me, everyone who works for me has a minimum bachelor's degree in criminal justice or something comparable. So they're able to provide very basic information like police reports are in, or, updates on your court date, or communication with the prosecutor. And it kind of like helps lower their stress that they're talking face to face with a person. And we also have a bowl of pink Hershey Kisses. So chocolate helps. Chocolate always helps.
Office is fully stashed with so many snacks. I have all the snacks you can imagine. Worst thing you want to do is sit in a divorce mediation for hours on end and people start getting hungry. It will not go well. It
No,
will.
because
You
people are
got
already angry. You don't need them angry as well. Do you have advice to young attorneys who are thinking about opening up their own law firm, whether it's a family law practice or a criminal practice? Do you have advice, and do you wish you were given advice that you might not have had when you took the leap?
I think the advice that I would give is you don't have to be so rigid in what you think you need.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I had read and things that I had heard was, okay, you need 6 months of your safety net, you need this, you need to have all these different things, and it was a whirlwind of, okay, what do I actually need?
I didn't think about that. Just to
Not a
let you
lot.
know, I didn't in my head have that banked.
Yeah, I didn't do it, but I was told that I should, and I was like, no, we're good. We're good. I'm gonna be fine. But I think not being so hard on yourself too of things that like have to be done, and you get to give yourself grace that there's going to be things you're going to mess up. You are absolutely going to mess it up. And the good thing is if you have a good team behind you and you get the right people, then you absolutely can, one, fix any problem that's happened, but then two, be proactive. And as long as you take the time to learn and put the time in that's necessary to figure out what you don't know. For me, it was bookkeeping, and when I first opened up the QuickBooks, which is interesting because I've done tons of divorces with dividing businesses, and I look at all these documents all of the time. But then when it was for myself with managing the practice,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I am an attorney. This is what I do. The business aspect of it is not first nature. That's something I have to learn. And I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to hire the people that know what they're doing so that it's correct to make sure that I, start off on the right foot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that giving yourself grace is definitely something that has to happen. And then really just knowing you can do it. I mean, you know the law. You know how to write motions and appear in front of judges. If you have that down pat and you know that you have a good reputation and you plan on continuing that, and obviously, like candor to the court is always going to be one of the most important things. So I think that coupled with an acknowledgement if you're doing too much too fast.
Right.
So, because there was a time too in the beginning where consults were coming in, and there was 1 week where I had like 10 consults coming in, and I didn't have things set up. I didn't have my processes set up yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I'm going to take a breath, and then I'm going to put a hold on consults and say, I'm not taking new consults for the next 2 weeks. Get up to speed on everything. And I had to know that myself. I had to know it's okay to put the brakes on certain aspects of things to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks, that you're still managing all of your workload and being your best self for the clients that you have.
Right. And it's hard not taking consults.
It's so hard.
Because, I think it might be a little different the way we bill and the way money comes in as a business, but you need new clients to keep the lights on. So it is hard not to take new clients. But I do find that most successful family practitioners seem to be able to say, no, I can't meet with you for a few days. And people are going to wait for that. They don't wait for criminal defense attorneys. They're going down a list, and it's if they call you and you don't call back within 24 hours, like, it's done. They've already retained somebody.
Yeah, I haven't had, with that, when I did put the hold on the consults for a little bit, I did find that people did wait and people were respectful of that. And they said, okay, completely understand. And if it wasn't emergent, then we scheduled the consult once my calendar allowed for it. And I mean, that worked out perfectly, but you're right, it is scary. It's very scary. So then you're like, well, wait a minute. If I don't have more clients coming in, how am I going to keep the lights on? And now I have other mouths to feed. I have employees and
Mm-hmm.
I have to make payroll. And, it's a balance. But I looked at it as, in order to continue having clients come, this is not a short-term game. This is a long-term game.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way to do that is to make sure the clients that I have are happy.
Right.
That's the priority.
Yeah.
And if I can't I'm only one person, so I can't be everywhere at once. And if I need to, acknowledge that and stop something to allow myself to do the work that's on the table, then I need to do that.
Right. Also, when people are coming in to talk to a family attorney, whether it's a prenuptial or filing for divorce, usually if they're the ones wanting to file, if it hasn't been filed yet, you're not up against a court date,
Yeah.
And again, it's different areas have different urgencies at different times. I would say, I think everything you said about advice of opening up a firm is, valuable. I would say that I was aware for me of keeping costs low. So I thought a website was important. So that was something I was willing to pay for and put a lot of investment into my website. I didn't think emails were important in the sense of what my email was. I used free email for the first 2 years or 3 years. Now I have one that goes through my website. But I was like, why am I going to pay for an email? That's a silly fee to pay. And so little things like that of trying to keep the overhead costs down so that parts of the business that were a necessity, like having a legal secretary or a paralegal, was able to be accomplished sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. I did the same thing. When it came to the website, I looked at some of those where it's like build your own, go on WordPress, and I opened the site. I was like, oh no, can't do that. That is not for me. So I hired somebody and they made the website. I said, okay, perfect.
Right, but if you don't understand SEOs and the whole way clients get to the website, and so that becomes a problem too. So I did generate my own website initially, or create my own website. The pink of my business actually was auto-generated, and it took me about 48 hours to 72 hours to decide whether I was going to embrace it. I liked it, but I was concerned at the time whether it was the brand of my law firm, which is so ironic now because I don't think if it was any other color, it would have been as successful, right? But
good branding tool for you for sure.
It did work. It worked out really well, and I'm really happy I went with it. But that website that I created and I had for about the first 6 weeks had a lot of information from my law firm that I was a partner and I had left. And what I didn't know was, because the information was very similar, that I was actually generating traffic to the old law firm because it didn't have new information, but because that wasn't my expertise on websites and SEOs. It was, a lesson that I had to learn a little bit by failure. And then, I kept my logo and, some of the style of the website, but then all the content and the pictures and the became new when I finally paid somebody to do the website. So my 2 cents is, if you're not a website expert, don't do your own website.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Surprised though that I didn't know the time frame for building a website. I didn't really think about that. And then I had opened, it was April, the very, very end of April, and the website still wasn't up. And I was like, oh no, like I've opened, but the website's not up. So I wasn't really prepared for how long that process took.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up working out fine because I had the clients that came over with me anyway. So it was okay. But that was something I was surprised about when I did open.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think I had the website anyway, so people could find me, but then the making of the website from paying a website designer does take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to switch gears a little bit, which is talk about your involvement in professional leadership and bar involvement. To young lawyers, what are your thoughts on being involved in the local bar and the state bar, serving on fee arbitration? I'm assuming you think it's important because you're involved in it, but I guess why is it important? Because I think some young lawyers don't see a value in it.
I think it's so important. One thing that once you leave school and, when you're in undergrad, you have a group of people that you see all the time in your classes. And then the same thing in law school, where you have built-in friendships, if you will.
Yeah.
And then you go into your private practice, and let's say you're in your first law firm, and of course you have all the attorneys there, but you get such a huge benefit, at least I think, from learning about other types of law and what other people do, whether it's criminal or real estate, and having those interactions with different people, because you do cross paths a lot. And I love learning. So I love learning about what other types of law are. Half the time when I talk to people, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. But I know that now because I've had those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you get involved in the bar associations and you go to the events and things, it really gives you that sense of community that I think is really important too, because it's a hard job. Any type of law that you do, it's a difficult job, and it can get really stressful. And knowing people and meeting people in all different stages of their career,
Mm-hmm.
I think is so beneficial, because you have retired judges who are involved. You have people who have been practicing at their own firms for decades, people who are of counsel, people who work for the government, and then you have newly admitted attorneys.
Right.
So having that range of information, I think, is so beneficial.
Right.
To be able to have access to that. And then majority of the bars, they do really great things. They do really great community service events. So you can build that in and get involved in your local community, whether it is, giving back to certain organizations, or doing the food banks, or, Christmas parties for the children. There's so many different ways that you can be involved outside of the legal community, which I always find really rewarding because I'm always involved in some type of community service.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to do that with a group of like-minded people who have the same stressors that you do. If you're not in a relationship or married to someone who's a lawyer, like if I go home and complain to my husband about how I had to do my billing entries, he's as supportive as he can be without ever having to do billing entries. So it only goes so far. And, I like having that access, if you will. But I think it's very important.
Right.
I really do.
I think you hit on so many of the important aspects of being involved in the bar and in leadership roles, but I'm also going to add to it. This is not a but, it's an and. And I think it's two different things in my mind. One is you can generate and create mentor relationships with people that aren't in your area of law that can be just as beneficial, and you meet those individuals by being involved. And I've had some amazing mentors when I was involved in the ethics committee. Jackie Stiles was the secretary of the ethics committee. I think she's about 15 to 20 years older than me. She was a wonderful mentor. When I was involved in the Inns of Court, Pat Sampoli, just amazing women lawyers that I met that I would not have known if I wasn't involved. And they might not have been able to give me information about the area of law that I had, but they gave me so many helpful feedback and direction, not just in the law, but in life, in real life skills and some of it was managing the law and everything in your life beyond the law, which for me was a family of 4 kids and at some points a commute of an hour and all of that. So I think that was one. And then the second is the goodwill and being involved in the Bar Association and also connecting with all lawyers in different areas of law. When I opened up my own law firm, it had generated so much goodwill that my name, so I had a similar situation that when I opened up my law firm, I didn't have a lull in clients. And it was because I had so many people referring me cases. And I think it was because of the goodwill of all that connection and community. So it's like you're planting a tree that you are not going to see grow for several years, but then when it does grow or when the flower grows and it blossoms, it's beautiful and you're going to be able to see it, but you're not going to see it right away.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So, all right. You and I can talk forever. I know that. I don't want to monopolize your time too much. We're getting close to an hour. So I guess what I would ask you before we kind of wrap up is, I love the goals that you have for your law firm of expanding and growing. I know it's hard going from lawyer to manager. What are you excited for your law firm as we watch it grow?
What am I excited for? Really just keep moving along with what we've been doing. I don't want to rock the boat too much because things are going well. So I'm not looking for that much change. I just think that, the more clients that we have, the more people we're able to help. And again, it's like you're talking about that tree of growing the network. Well, it's the same thing with the client base because so much of it is referral. So, every happy client at the end of their case, that's somebody who's going to refer a family or a friend. So looking at that expansion is a really exciting prospect. And I'm really excited to, have other attorneys here as well to be able to have multiple motions in different counties on the same day. Whereas right now, when it's only me, I don't have that ability.
Right.
But being able to teach a young attorney how to practice family law, that's very exciting. I am very excited for that. I love taking that on. My legal assistant now did not work in family law previously. My prior paralegal at my other firm did not work in family law a lot and then came over, and I love even that aspect because I love family law so much. So I think having somebody else who has that same passion of somebody else who is going to love their job and love their career is really exciting because I wouldn't do anything else. So the idea that somebody else is going to have a family law career is so exciting because the need is there. The need is there. We need good family law practitioners who genuinely care about the work that they do and the advice they provide, and expanding that is great. I tell everybody, all the law clerks at all the Bar Association events, I tell everyone, like, go to family law. It's the best there is. You get to learn everything. It's amazing.
Right. And also, we're in our community here, there's not a lot of young lawyers. So the field is opened, Well, Jessica, thank you so much. I hope you know, I think you do, like I am constantly cheering you on. I love what you're doing. I think it's great that a year and a half in, the success that you're having. Yay. And you know, if there's anything I can do, always, I am here to support you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And likewise, same to you. You've created a phenomenal firm. And yes, you are one of the mentors that I look up to from a different practice area.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So you'll be back. We're going to discuss, your growth in another year. Who knows? You can have 1 to 2 lawyers, and then it's like, how did you make it grow? What were the speed bumps? What was easy in going from one lawyer firm to a 2 to 3 lawyer firm? The expenses alone, your insurance changes, your everything kind of increases a little.
One of the best ways to support Melissa and the Mighty Mert podcast is to go to our YouTube page, find the subscribe button, open the menu, and click the bell icon so you actually get alerts when we post new episodes or shorts. For any questions or interest in podcasting, go to legalpodcasting.com.